Waiting in line is annoying but necessary for civilized society. These people decided they were too important to wait and learned painful lessons about why cutting in line is a bad idea. 1. A woman at Disney World pretended her husband was in a wheelchair to use the disability line, but he stood up to go on the ride. The couple rented a wheelchair specifically to skip regular lines using Disney's disability access. The husband sat in the wheelchair while the wife pushed him through the disability entrance at various rides. They bypassed hours of waiting. At one ride, they reached the front of the disability line. The husband stood up from the wheelchair and walked normally onto the ride. Other guests who'd been waiting in the regular line for over an hour saw him stand and walk. Someone reported them to Disney staff. Cast members reviewed their activity throughout the day. Security footage showed the husband walking normally between rides, then sitting in the wheelchair only at ride entrances. They were confronted by Disney security. The couple was removed from the park. Their tickets were revoked with no refund. They'd paid for multi-day passes. They were banned from all Disney parks permanently. Video of the confrontation was posted online by witnesses and went viral. The couple became internet famous as the Disney Wheelchair Fakers. Disney released a statement condemning abuse of disability services. The stupidity was faking a disability to skip lines at a place with comprehensive security cameras, getting caught on camera standing up after claiming to need a wheelchair, and losing thousands in tickets plus lifetime bans from Disney to save time waiting in lines they'd paid to access anyway. 2. A man at an airport tried to skip TSA security by claiming he was a pilot, but he was wearing a pilot costume from a party. He showed up at airport security wearing a pilot's uniform. He approached the Crew Aswa employee security line, which has shorter wait times than regular passenger lines. TSA agents asked for his airline credentials. He confidently said he was a pilot and showed them what looked like a pilot's ID. Upon closer inspection, TSA noticed the uniform was a cheap Halloween costume. The wings were plastic, the badges were obviously fake, and the uniform material was polyester costume fabric. Real pilot uniforms are high quality and have specific, authentic details. TSA detained him immediately. He admitted he'd worn the costume thinking it would get him through faster. He was arrested for impersonating airline personnel and attempting to breach security. He missed his flight and faced federal charges. His costume pilot attempt resulted in arrest and being put on the no-fly list. The stupidity was wearing an obvious Halloween costume to impersonate a pilot at airport security, where personnel are trained to spot fake credentials, resulting in arrest and missing his flight while everyone in the regular line he tried to skip flew on schedule. 3. A woman tried to cut a Black Friday line by claiming her child was sick in the car, then was seen shopping hours later. The store opened at 5 a.m. for Black Friday deals. Hundreds of people had been waiting in line since midnight. The woman arrived at 4:55 a.m. and went to the front of the line. She told people her child was sick in the car and she needed to get in quickly, grab medicine, and get back to her child. People felt bad and let her cut to the front. She entered when doors opened. But instead of quickly buying medicine and leaving, she was seen shopping for TVs, electronics, and various sale items. She spent hours in the store shopping for deals. People who'd let her cut spotted her casually shopping with a full cart. When confronted, she said her child felt better. Security was called. Security reviewed her story and determined she'd lied to skip the line. She was asked to leave the store. Her items were taken from her cart. She was banned from that store location. Video of her being escorted out went viral locally. The stupidity was using a fake sick child emergency to cut a line, then obviously shopping for hours for non-medical items in front of the same people who'd let her cut, proving her emergency was fake and getting banned from the store on the best shopping day of the year. 4. A man tried to skip a restaurant wait by claiming he had a reservation under a celebrity's name, but the celebrity was actually dining there. The restaurant had a 2-hour wait. The man approached the host stand and said he had a reservation under the name of a famous actor. He didn't look like the actor, but claimed to be his assistant picking up a takeout order. The host was confused because the actual celebrity was currently dining in their private section. Security was called. They asked the man to clarify. He stuck to his story that he was the celebrity's assistant. Security brought him to the celebrity's table to confirm. The actual celebrity had no idea who this person was and confirmed he was lying. The man was humiliated in front of the entire restaurant. Police were called and he was charged with trespassing after being asked to leave. He was banned permanently. The stupidity was randomly choosing a celebrity name to fake a reservation without considering that celebrity might actually be at that restaurant at that exact moment, resulting in being confronted with his lie in person by the famous person he'd claimed to represent. 5. A woman at a theme park paid her teenage son to pretend to faint so she could skip lines claiming a medical emergency. The mother and son had a plan. At each ride, the son would pretend to faint or feel sick. Staff would have to provide medical attention and let the family bypass lines to help the distressed teen. They executed this plan at multiple rides. Park medical staff began noticing the same family having emergencies at every major attraction. The teen's fainting spells always happened right at the entrance to rides with long lines. Security observed them. At one ride, the teen fainted again. Medical staff caught him smiling and opening his eyes to peek around before fainting. They confronted the mother and son. Both confessed to the scheme. They were removed from the park. Their season passes were revoked. They were banned from the theme park chain. The refund of their passes was denied due to fraudulent behavior. The stupidity was staging fake medical emergencies repeatedly at the same park where medical staff would obviously notice the same person having convenient emergencies only at popular rides, getting caught and losing expensive season passes to skip 20 minutes of waiting. 6. A man tried to skip a DMV line by setting off the fire alarm, but security cameras caught him doing it. The DMV had a 3-hour wait. The man had been waiting for 2 hours. He decided he couldn't wait any longer. He walked to a bathroom and pulled the fire alarm. The building evacuated. Everyone had to leave and line up outside. During the evacuation, he tried to position himself near the front of the crowd, hoping to re-enter near the front. But security footage reviewed after the alarm showed him pulling it. When the building was cleared for re-entry, security detained him. Police arrested him for filing a false alarm. He was charged with a crime and banned from that DMV. He never completed his DMV transaction. He had to go to a different DMV and wait again, now with a criminal charge. The stupidity was pulling a fire alarm at a government building with comprehensive security cameras to skip a DMV line, getting arrested, and still not completing his DMV task while adding a criminal record. 7. A couple tried to skip a concert line by claiming they were on the VIP list, but the actual VIP manager was standing right there. A popular concert had a huge line. A couple approached the VIP entrance claiming to be on the guest list. Security asked for their names. They gave fake names. The security guard radioed to verify. The VIP manager walked over to personally check. The manager didn't recognize them, and their names weren't on any list. The couple insisted there was a mistake and became aggressive. The manager confirmed they were lying and asked them to leave the VIP line. The couple refused and caused a scene. Police working the event were called. The couple was arrested for trespassing and disorderly conduct. They were banned from the venue. They never got to see the concert. The stupidity was trying to fake being on a VIP list, while the person who created that list was physically present to verify, resulting in arrest and missing the concert they'd paid for. 8. A woman at a grocery store tried to use the express lane with 50-plus items by claiming she couldn't read the sign. The express lane sign clearly stated 10 items or less. The woman approached with a cart overflowing with items, clearly over 50 items. The cashier politely pointed out this was express lane for 10 items or less. The woman claimed she couldn't read the sign and didn't know. The cashier offered to help her move to a regular lane. The woman refused and demanded to be checked out. Other customers in line behind her with only a few items were frustrated. The manager was called. The woman stuck to her story that she couldn't read signs. The manager pointed out that if she couldn't read, how did she know what products to buy since they're labeled with text? The woman's excuse fell apart. She was asked to move to another lane or leave. She caused a scene. Eventually, security escorted her out. She was banned from the store. The stupidity was claiming illiteracy to use express lane with 50-plus items, then being unable to explain how she could shop if she couldn't read product labels, getting banned from a grocery store over refusing to wait in the correct line. 9. A man tried to skip a bathroom line at a sports stadium by claiming he was stadium staff, but he was wearing a team jersey. The men's room had a 20-person line. A man walked past everyone saying, "Excuse me, staff coming through." He was wearing the home team's jersey, clearly a fan, not staff. Someone questioned him. He insisted he worked there. People pointed out his jersey. He claimed staff were allowed to wear jerseys. Someone asked to see his staff badge. He didn't have one. Stadium security was nearby and overheard. They confirmed he wasn't staff. He was asked to leave the bathroom and go to the back of the line. He refused. Security escorted him out of the stadium entirely. He missed the game he'd paid to attend. The stupidity was claiming to be stadium staff while wearing fan clothing, then doubling down when questioned, resulting in ejection from the game to skip a bathroom line. 10. A family tried to board a flight early by claiming their child was a minor who needed extra time, but the child was clearly over 18. Airlines allow families with young children to board early. A family approached the gate during family boarding, claiming their child needed assistance. The gate agent looked at the child, a fully grown adult man with facial hair who appeared to be in his 20s. The agent asked the child's age. The parent said he was a minor under 12. The agent asked for ID. The child produced an ID showing he was 22 years old. When confronted, the parents claimed he had a condition that made him need assistance like a child. The agent asked what condition. They couldn't name one. Their story kept changing. The gate agent denied them early boarding and flagged them. They had to board in their assigned group. Airport security was notified. The family was pulled aside after the flight and warned that attempting to defraud boarding procedures could result in being banned from the airline. The stupidity was trying to pass off a 22-year-old man as a child, under 12, to board 5 minutes earlier, requiring their adult son to participate in the humiliating lie that he was a minor. 11. A woman tried to skip a lunch line by pretending to be pregnant, but she'd been at the same location the previous week not pregnant. A restaurant had a long lunch line. A woman approached holding her stomach and claiming she was pregnant and couldn't stand in line long. The host felt sympathetic and seated her immediately. However, a server recognized her from the previous week when she dined there. She hadn't been pregnant then. The server mentioned this to the manager. The manager approached the woman and politely mentioned that staff remembered her from last week. The woman insisted she'd never been there before. The manager described her previous visit in detail, including what she'd ordered. The woman's pregnancy story fell apart. She was asked to leave. She caused a scene claiming discrimination. The manager pointed out that lying about pregnancy to skip a line was the issue, not actual pregnancy. She was escorted out and banned. The stupidity was faking pregnancy to skip a restaurant line at a place she'd visited recently where staff would remember her not being pregnant a week earlier. 12. A man tried to cut a ski lift line by claiming he was an instructor, but he couldn't ski. The ski lift had a 30-minute line. A man approached the instructor line, which had no wait. Lift operators asked for his instructor credentials. He claimed to have forgotten them, but insisted he was an instructor. Operators asked which ski school he worked for. He named one. They radioed the ski school. No one by his name worked there. When questioned, he became aggressive and insisted on using the instructor line. Operators asked him to demonstrate basic instructor skills. He couldn't. It became clear he couldn't ski at all. He was a beginner. He admitted he was taking his first lesson that day. He was denied access to the instructor line and told to wait in the regular line. Ski patrol was notified. He was watched for the rest of the day. The stupidity was claiming to be a ski instructor when he couldn't ski, easily disproven by asking him to demonstrate any skiing ability. 13. A couple tried to skip a museum line by claiming they were members, but the museum didn't have a membership program. A museum had a long entrance line. A couple walked to the front claiming they were members and could use a different entrance. Staff asked for their membership cards. The couple said they forgot them but gave their names. Staff checked. The museum didn't have a membership program at all. It was a city-run free museum that didn't offer memberships. When told this, the couple claimed they must be thinking of a different museum. Staff asked them to go to the back of the line. They refused and became belligerent. Museum security escorted them out. They were banned from the museum. The stupidity was claiming membership at a museum that didn't have memberships, something staff would obviously know. 14. A man tried to skip a courthouse line by claiming to be a lawyer, but he was there for his own trial. The courthouse had security screening with a long line. A man in a suit approached the attorney line, which moved faster. Security asked for his bar card. He claimed to have forgotten it. They asked his name to verify. When they checked, they found he was scheduled to appear as a defendant in a trial that day. He wasn't a lawyer. Security detained him and notified the court. His attempt to skip security made him late for his own court appearance. The judge was not amused. His line skipping was mentioned in court and reflected poorly on him. The stupidity was trying to impersonate an attorney at a courthouse where they could easily check if he was actually a lawyer while appearing as a defendant that same day. 15. A woman tried to board a bus early by claiming she was disabled, then ran to catch the bus when it started moving. Buses have priority seating and early boarding for disabled passengers. A woman claimed to be disabled and boarded first. She sat in priority seating. The bus filled with other passengers, including actually disabled people who had to stand. As the bus pulled away from the stop, the woman realized she'd left her purse at the stop. She jumped up and sprinted off the bus, running at full speed to grab her purse. Everyone on the bus watched her run normally with no disability. When she returned with her purse, the driver refused to let her back on. Other passengers who'd seen her sprint were angry. She was told to take the next bus. The stupidity was faking a disability to board early, then demonstrating full mobility by sprinting in front of everyone she'd lied to. 16. A man tried to cut an amusement park ride line by claiming his child was lost and he needed to check the ride area, but he got on the ride. A father claimed his child was missing and might have wandered into the ride area. Staff let him bypass the line to check, but instead of checking for his child, he got on the ride and enjoyed it. Staff watching him noticed. When he exited the ride, security was waiting. He was asked about his missing child. He claimed he'd found the child. Security asked where the child was. He said the child was with his wife. Security asked to verify. There was no wife or child. He'd invented the lost child story to skip the line. He was removed from the park and banned. The stupidity was using a fake lost child emergency to skip a line, then obviously going on the ride for fun instead of actually looking for any child. 17. A woman tried to skip a pharmacy line by claiming she had a medical emergency, then asked for beauty products. A pharmacy had a long line. A woman rushed to the front claiming she had an urgent medical need. The pharmacist let her cut the line. She asked for face cream and makeup products. The pharmacist pointed out those weren't medical emergencies. She insisted they were urgent for her. Other customers in line were furious they'd been skipped for beauty products. The pharmacist asked her to go to the back of the line. She refused. Store security escorted her out. She was banned from the pharmacy. The stupidity was claiming a medical emergency to skip a pharmacy line, then revealing her emergency was cosmetics. 18. A man tried to skip airport customs by claiming diplomatic immunity, but he was a tourist with a regular passport. After an international flight, customs had a long line. A man approached a customs officer claiming he had diplomatic immunity and shouldn't have to wait. The officer asked for his diplomatic credentials. He showed a regular tourist passport. The officer explained that he didn't have diplomatic status. The man insisted he was important. The officer asked what government he represented. The man said he was an important businessman. The officer clarified that business people aren't diplomats. The man became aggressive. Customs flagged him for additional screening. He was sent to secondary inspection where his luggage was thoroughly searched. He waited far longer than if he'd just stood in the regular line. The stupidity was claiming diplomatic immunity without any diplomatic credentials at an international border where customs officers deal with actual diplomats regularly. 19. A family tried to use a fast food restaurant drive-thru on foot, claiming their car broke down nearby, but they walked from the parking lot. The drive-thru line was short, but the inside line was long. A family approached the drive-thru window on foot. Policy didn't allow walk-up customers at the drive-thru for safety reasons. They claimed their car broke down nearby, and they couldn't go inside due to mobility issues. Staff felt sympathetic and served them, but security cameras showed them walking from the parking lot where their car was parked fine. A manager reviewed the footage and saw them park and walk over. When the family returned later that day, the manager confronted them. They were banned from the restaurant. The stupidity was claiming a broken-down car to use the drive-thru on foot, when surveillance cameras would show them walking from their parked working vehicle. 20. A man tried to skip a voting line by claiming he was an election worker, but he was just a voter. Election day had long lines at polling places. A man approached the front claiming he was an election worker who needed to check equipment. Actual election workers didn't recognize him. They asked what his role was. He gave vague answers. They asked for his election worker credentials. He didn't have any. Election officials called police. He admitted he just wanted to vote quickly. He was sent to the back of the line. Election officials filed a report about attempted interference. The stupidity was trying to impersonate election officials at a polling place staffed by actual election officials who would obviously know he didn't work there. 21. A woman tried to skip a vaccination clinic line by claiming she was a healthcare worker, but she was wearing her retail work uniform. A vaccination clinic had separate lines for healthcare workers and general public. A woman went to the healthcare worker line. Staff asked for her healthcare credentials. She claimed to be a nurse. She was wearing a retail store uniform with the store's name on it. When asked about this, she said she'd come from her shift. Staff asked what healthcare facility she worked at. She couldn't name one. Her story kept changing. Staff asked for any form of healthcare ID. She had none. She was sent to the general public line. The stupidity was claiming to be a healthcare worker while wearing a retail uniform with a different employer's name clearly visible. 22. A man tried to cut a nightclub line by pretending to know the bouncer, but he'd never met him before. A nightclub had a long line outside. A man approached the velvet rope and loudly greeted the bouncer like an old friend. "Hey man, good to see you again." The bouncer had never seen this person before. The bouncer asked his name. The man gave a name. The bouncer said he didn't remember him. The man said they'd met at a party. The bouncer said he didn't go to parties. The man's story fell apart. The bouncer told him to get to the back of the line. The man became argumentative. The bouncer put him on the do not admit list. He wasn't allowed in the club at all. The stupidity was pretending to personally know a bouncer he'd never met, when bouncers work at the door specifically to identify and remember faces. 23. A woman tried to skip a sample sale line by claiming she was press, but she had no credentials, and her camera was a phone. A designer sample sale had a huge line. A woman approached the front with her phone claiming she was press covering the event. Security asked for her press credentials. She had none. She said she was a blogger. They asked what publication. She named an Instagram account with 200 followers. Security explained that wasn't credentialed press. She insisted she needed to get in to cover the story. Security checked with event management. She wasn't on any press list. She was told to get in line like everyone else. She refused and tried to push past security. She was removed from the property. The stupidity was claiming to be press with no credentials at an event where actual press had to apply weeks in advance for approval. 24. A man tried to board a cruise ship early by claiming he was crew, but he was clearly a passenger with luggage. Cruise boarding has crew check-in and passenger check-in at different times. A man approached crew check-in hours before passenger boarding. He claimed to be crew. He was wearing tourist clothing and had passenger luggage. Crew check-in staff asked for his crew ID. He said he was new and didn't have one yet. They asked what department he'd work in. His answers were vague. They asked who hired him. He couldn't provide details. It became clear he was a passenger trying to board early. Security detained him. When passenger boarding opened, he was allowed to board in the correct process. He was flagged for attempting to deceive crew. The stupidity was trying to pass as crew while obviously being a tourist with no crew credentials or knowledge. 25. A woman tried to skip a coffee shop line by mobile ordering and claiming her name when called, but 3 other people had the same order. A coffee shop was packed with a long line. The woman stood to the side, and when a name was called for mobile order pickup, she claimed it was hers. But 3 other people also claimed that order. They'd actually placed mobile orders. Baristas asked to see mobile order confirmations. She couldn't produce one. The actual customers showed their receipts. She was caught lying. The barista told her she needed to order and wait in line. She claimed it was an honest mistake, but she tried it again 10 minutes later with a different name. Staff recognized her and asked her to leave. She was banned from the coffee shop. The stupidity was trying to steal mobile orders as a line-skipping method, doing it repeatedly until caught and banned. 26. A man tried to skip a car rental line by claiming he had a reservation, then asked to make a reservation. A car rental agency had a long line. A man approached an agent claiming he had a reservation and could skip to the front. The agent asked for his confirmation number. He said he didn't have it. The agent searched his name. No reservation existed. He said it must be under a different name. The agent asked whose. He said his wife's name, but couldn't spell it correctly. No reservation was found. Then he asked if he could make a reservation now. The agent said yes, but he'd have to wait in line like everyone else since he didn't actually have one. He'd wasted 15 minutes lying about a reservation, only to end up at the back of the line anyway. The stupidity was lying about having a reservation that could be instantly checked by computer, then admitting he needed to make one, proving he'd been lying. 27. A family tried to skip a water park entry line by claiming their child had special needs requiring immediate entry. Then the child was fine all day. A water park had a long entry line. A family approached staff claiming their child had special needs and couldn't wait in lines due to behavioral issues. Staff accommodated them with immediate entry. But all day, the child displayed no special needs whatsoever, standing in ride lines normally, behaving typically, showing no issues. Other families who'd waited in the entry line spotted the family and reported them to management. Management reviewed the situation. The family was called to guest services. When questioned, they admitted they'd lied about special needs to skip the line. They were removed from the water park. Their season passes were revoked. The stupidity was faking a child's disability for line skipping, then having the child demonstrate complete absence of any special needs all day in front of everyone they'd lied to. 28. A man tried to use an airport priority security lane by claiming he was military, but he wore his uniform incorrectly with wrong patches and ranks. Airports have TSA pre-check and priority screening for military. A man in military uniform approached the priority lane. TSA agents noticed his uniform was wrong. Patches were in wrong positions. Rank insignia didn't match his stated rank. Ribbons were upside down. They questioned him. His story kept changing about where he served. They asked for military ID. He said he lost it. TSA called military police. Actual MPs arrived and identified numerous violations in his uniform. He wasn't military, he'd bought a costume uniform. He was arrested for stolen valor and impersonating military personnel. The stupidity was wearing a fake military uniform to skip airport security lines in front of TSA agents and actual military personnel, who would instantly recognize the costume was wrong. 29. A woman tried to skip a food truck line by ordering for multiple people, then revealing she was alone. A popular food truck had a 40-person line. A woman placed an order for 8 people's worth of food. People assumed she was ordering for a group. When her large order was ready, she took all of it and sat down alone to eat. People in line realized she'd ordered for herself to justify cutting by making a large order. Customers confronted her. She admitted she thought a larger order would get priority. The food truck owner heard about this, asked her to leave, and refunded her money. She was banned from that truck. The stupidity was thinking that ordering excessive food would justify skipping a line when food trucks serve an order regardless of order size. 30. A man tried to skip a post office line by claiming he was there to pick up certified mail which required different service, but his tracking number didn't exist. Post offices have separate windows for package pickup versus regular mail. A man claimed he needed certified mail pickup which had no line. The clerk asked for the tracking number. He gave one he'd made up. The clerk checked. The number didn't exist in the system. When told this, he claimed he might have written it down wrong. The clerk asked for the notice slip left at his house. He didn't have one. The clerk determined he was lying to skip the line. He was sent to the back of the regular line. The stupidity was making up a fake tracking number to skip a line at a post office where every tracking number is verified in a computer system. 31. A couple tried to cut a restaurant brunch line by claiming they were meeting friends already seated, but the friends didn't exist. A brunch restaurant had a 90-minute wait. A couple told the host they were meeting friends already seated. The host asked the friend's name or table number. The couple gave a random name. The host checked the seating chart and reservation list. No one by that name. The couple said maybe it was under a different name. The host asked them to call their friends to find out what name and table. The couple couldn't produce friends. The host realized they were lying. They were sent to the back of the line. The stupidity was claiming to meet seated friends without any actual information about those friends or which table they were at. 32. A man tried to board a plane early by faking a mobility issue, then jogged down the jetway. Airlines allow passengers needing extra time to pre-board. A man requested pre-boarding claiming mobility issues. He was allowed to board early, but as soon as he entered the jetway, he jogged ahead at full speed to get a better overhead bin spot. A gate agent and other passengers saw him sprinting down the jetway. When confronted on the plane, he claimed he'd felt better suddenly. The flight attendant wasn't convinced. Airline management was notified. After the flight, he received a warning letter about abusing pre-boarding. Future requests for assistance would be scrutinized. The stupidity was faking mobility issues to pre-board, then immediately running at full speed in front of gate agents and passengers who'd just seen him claim he couldn't walk well. 33. A woman tried to skip a hotel check-in line by claiming to be a VIP rewards member, but she'd just enrolled 10 minutes earlier. A hotel had a long check-in line. A woman approached the VIP member desk, which was empty. The agent asked for her membership number. She provided it. The agent checked she'd enrolled online 10 minutes ago and had 0 stays or points. She wasn't VIP status, she was a brand new member with no tier. The agent explained the VIP desk was for high-tier members only. She insisted she was a member. The agent clarified the tiers and showed her that new members aren't VIP. She was directed to the regular line. The stupidity was thinking that joining a rewards program minutes earlier would make her VIP status when tier status requires earning points through actual stays. 34. A man tried to cut a ski rental line by claiming he was an employee picking up equipment, but he was wearing jeans and sneakers. Ski rental shops have lines for customers and separate areas for employee equipment. A man claimed to be staff picking up employee gear. He was wearing jeans and sneakers, not ski attire or employee uniform. Rental staff asked what position he held. He said he was a lift operator. They asked his name. They radioed to verify. No employee by that name existed. He was asked to get in the customer line. The stupidity was claiming to be a ski resort employee while dressed in street clothes at a resort where all employees wear uniforms or appropriate ski gear. 35. A woman tried to skip a theme park fast pass line by using a screenshot of someone else's fast pass, but it had their name on it. Theme parks have fast pass systems with QR codes. A woman found a screenshot of someone else's fast pass online. She tried to use it at the ride entrance. The attendant scanned it and noticed the name didn't match her ticket. When questioned, she said it must be a glitch. The attendant checked the reservation system. That fast pass belonged to someone else who'd used it hours ago. She was caught using someone else's pass. Park security was called. She was ejected from the park with no refund. The stupidity was using a screenshot with someone else's name on it, at a park where every pass is connected to a ticket holder's name and tracked in real time. 36. A man tried to skip a pharmacy drive-thru line by saying he was a delivery driver picking up for a patient, but he didn't have any pickup information. Pharmacies prioritize delivery driver pickups. A man said he was a delivery driver picking up a prescription. The pharmacist asked for the patient's name and date of birth. He didn't know. The pharmacist asked for the prescription number. He didn't have it. The pharmacist asked what delivery service he worked for. He gave a vague answer. It became clear he was lying. The pharmacist told him to get in the regular line. Security was notified about the attempted deception. The stupidity was claiming to be picking up prescriptions without any patient information, when pharmacies require specific details to release medications. 37. A woman tried to cut a bakery line by claiming she'd pre-ordered, but the bakery didn't take pre-orders. A bakery had a long line. A woman went to the front saying she was picking up a pre-order. Staff asked for her order confirmation. She said she'd called it in. The bakery didn't take phone orders, they were walk-in only. When told this, she insisted she'd pre-ordered. Staff checked their records. Nothing existed. She was lying. She was told to get in line. She caused a scene. Other customers were angry. She was asked to leave. The stupidity was claiming a pre-order at a bakery that publicly stated they don't take pre-orders, easily verified by staff. 38. A family tried to skip a zoo entry line by claiming they were annual pass holders, but their passes had expired 2 years earlier. A zoo had a long entry line and a separate faster line for members. A family went to the member line. Gate staff asked to see their passes. They showed expired passes from 2 years ago. Staff explained the passes were expired. The family insisted expired passes should still count. Staff explained they needed to renew. The family demanded to be let in anyway. Staff refused. The family caused a scene. Security escorted them to the back of the general admission line where they had to purchase new tickets. The stupidity was trying to use 2-year expired passes to skip a line when membership expiration dates are clearly printed on the passes. 39. A man tried to skip a DMV line by claiming he had an appointment, but DMV doesn't give appointments at that location. Some DMV locations offer appointments, others don't. This location was walk-in only. A man claimed he had an appointment. Staff asked for his confirmation number. He said he didn't have it. Staff checked their system. This location didn't offer appointments at all. When told this, he said he made it online. Staff showed him that their website clearly states this location is walk-in only. He was sent to the back of the line. The stupidity was claiming an appointment at a location that doesn't offer appointments, easily verified by staff who work there every day. 40. A woman tried to board a bus through the exit door to skip the payment line, then complained the driver wouldn't let her on. A bus had a line at the front door where passengers paid. The woman tried to board through the rear exit door to skip paying. The driver closed the rear door and told her to enter through the front and pay. She banged on the rear door demanding entry. The driver refused. She called the bus company to complain. The operator explained she needed to pay at the front like everyone else. She was told that attempting to board through the exit to avoid payment could result in being banned. The stupidity was trying to skip the payment process by boarding illegally, then filing a complaint about the driver enforcing basic rules. 41. A man tried to cut a concert merch line by claiming he was buying for the band, but he didn't know any band member names. Concert merchandise lines can be long. A man claimed he was buying merch for the band and needed priority. Merch staff asked who sent him. He couldn't name any band members. Staff asked what he was supposed to buy. He didn't know. It was obvious he was lying. Staff told him to get in line. He insisted. Security was called. He was removed from the merchandise area. The stupidity was claiming to work for a band without knowing a single member's name or having any legitimate reason to skip the merch line. 42. A woman tried to skip a toll booth line by using the EZ pass lane without a transponder, then claiming her transponder wasn't working. Toll booths have dedicated EZ pass lanes. A woman drove through an EZ pass lane without slowing. Cameras captured her license plate. She had no transponder. She was mailed a violation notice with fines. She called a dispute claiming her transponder wasn't working. Records showed she'd never had a transponder or EZ pass account. Her broken transponder defense fell apart. She had to pay the toll plus fines. The stupidity was using an EZ pass lane without EZ pass, then lying about equipment malfunction when records showed she never had the equipment. 43. A man tried to skip a courthouse metal detector line by claiming he was a lawyer with courthouse access, but he was there as a defendant. He approached the attorney screening lane. Security asked for his bar card. He said he left it in his car. They asked his bar number. He gave a fake number. Security checked. It wasn't valid. They asked his name. When they ran his name, he appeared on the court docket as a defendant that day. Security detained him. His attempt to impersonate an attorney was reported to the judge. It reflected poorly in his case. The stupidity was trying to skip security by claiming to be a lawyer when security could instantly verify he was appearing as a defendant. 44. A couple tried to skip a restaurant wait by claiming it was their anniversary and they had a reservation. But it wasn't their anniversary and no reservation existed. A busy restaurant had a 2-hour wait. A couple approached claiming it was their anniversary and they had a reservation. The host checked. No reservation under their name. They insisted they'd called. The host asked when their anniversary was. They said that day. The host asked the date. They gave different dates. The host asked to see ID. Their driver's licenses showed different birth dates, making a marriage anniversary on that date impossible given their ages. The host realized they were lying about everything. They were sent to the back of the wait list. The stupidity was lying about their anniversary without coordinating their story, giving conflicting dates that proved the lie. 45. And finally, a man tried to skip a Black Friday line by arriving at 4 a.m. claiming he'd been waiting since midnight. But security footage showed him arriving at 4. A major retailer opened at 5 a.m. for Black Friday. People had camped out since midnight. At 4 a.m., a man showed up and walked to the front of the line claiming he'd been there since midnight and just went to his car. People who'd actually been waiting told him to go to the back. He insisted he'd been first. Argument started. Store security reviewed cameras. Footage clearly showed him arriving at 4 a.m. He hadn't been there before. Security confronted him with video evidence. He was sent to the back of the line. He complained to store management. Management supported security's decision based on camera footage. The man threatened to never shop there again. Management didn't care. He ended up near the end of the line, and many doorbuster deals sold out before he entered. People who'd actually camped overnight got the best deals. The man who tried to lie about camping got nothing he came for. The stupidity was claiming to have been waiting for hours when security cameras documented exact arrival times, trying to cheat people who'd actually sacrificed sleep to wait, getting caught on camera, being publicly humiliated with video evidence, and ending up worse off than if he'd just arrived at 4 a.m. and honestly gone to the back of the line where he belonged. His attempt to steal first position in line from people who'd earned it resulted in him being treated with suspicion all morning, missing the deals he wanted, and becoming infamous as that guy who tried to lie about being first. In a situation where cameras proved he was lying and dozens of actual campers could testify against him. Subscribe if you want to remember that waiting in line sucks, but skipping it usually backfires worse. That everyone managing lines has heard your excuse before and knows it's fake. That cameras and computers will expose your lie, and that saving 20 minutes isn't worth getting banned, arrested, or publicly humiliated in front of hundreds of people who actually waited and will ensure you face consequences for trying to cheat the system they respected.